Have you ever stopped to think about this? You can walk right into an Apple store and buy an iPhone directly from Apple, but you can't walk into a Ford store and buy a Mustang directly from Ford. It's one of the weirdest rules in all of American business, and believe it or not, the whole story starts in a tiny town you've probably never even heard of. All right, let's go there. We're talking about Kellogg, Idaho. Population? Just a little over 2,000 people. But here's the wild part. On any given day, there are more brand new cars sitting on lots for sale here than there are people actually living in the entire town. I mean, think about it. This tiny, remote town with a pretty tough economy is somehow home to Dave Smith Motors, which is the single largest Jeep Ram dealer in the entire country. They're selling thousands of brand new, high-end trucks. So how on earth is that possible? So first up, let's unpack what I'm calling the Kellogg anomaly and figure out how this small town managed to build a massive car-selling empire. You just look at the numbers and they make absolutely no sense. Kellogg is a town of just over 2,000 people, and the median income is only about $35,000. And yet one single business, Dave Smith Motors, employs 400 of them. And they're selling these expensive trucks to a customer base that, let's be real, is clearly not local. And this really gets us to the core of it all. How does a business like this not just survive, but absolutely thrive in the middle of nowhere? And bigger picture, why are car dealers in general so wealthy? I mean, get this. Last year, the average Toyota dealer in Boston pulled in a $6 million profit. The answer isn't just that they're good at business. It's actually baked into the law. The secret, it turns out, is hidden in a set of laws that were specifically designed to protect dealers, the so-called little guy. They're called dealer franchise laws, and what they do is pretty simple, but also kind of mind-blowing. In all 50 states, these laws make it illegal for an automaker like Ford to sell you a car directly. They are legally required to use a middleman, an independent dealership. Just think for a second about how unique this really is. Apple can open a store and sell you an iPhone. No problem. Ford can't. Apple can decide to stop supplying a retailer tomorrow if it wants to. But in many states, automakers can only drop a dealership for a major cause, like actual fraud. The dealers are incredibly protected. Now, to be fair, this system kind of made sense way back in the 1950s. You had almost 50,000 of these little family-owned dealerships, and the big, powerful automakers could really bully them around, forcing them to buy unpopular cars. So states passed these laws to protect them. But today, the entire landscape has flipped. There are fewer than 17,000 dealers left, and many of them have consolidated into these massive, powerful corporations. And this led to a huge, totally unintended consequence. The very laws designed to protect the weak ended up creating a new class of ultra-powerful players. And when the internet arrived, everyone thought it would kill the middleman, right? Well, it did the opposite. It made them even stronger. Rural dealers like Dave Smith used their naturally low overhead costs to go online, undercut city prices, and reach a national audience. They became unstoppable. So here's the playbook they used. When Kellogg's local mining economy collapsed, Dave Smith Motors had a choice: adapt or die. So they went online. They used their low costs to offer prices that dealers in the big cities just couldn't match. And here's the masterstroke. They started flying customers in from all over the country to pick up their new cars. This model turned little small-town shops into national giants. Just how big did they get? Well, take a company like Lithia Motors. It started in a tiny town in Oregon. Last year, its annual revenue was $30 billion. And here's the real punchline. That $30 billion in revenue for Lithia Motors, that's a single dealership group, remember, is more than the entire worldwide revenue of car companies like Subaru and Mazda. Let that sink in for a second. The little mom-and-pop shops that these laws were designed to protect are now bigger than the giants they were being protected from. So, for nearly a century, this whole system has been locked in place. But now, a powerful new force is finally here to challenge the status quo. We're talking about Tesla and the fundamental shift to electric vehicles. Now, to understand why EVs are such a huge threat, you have to know how a dealership really makes its money. And this quote, well, it says it all. Their biggest profits don't actually come from selling cars. You see, the largest slice of any dealer's profit comes straight from the service bay: parts, repairs, oil changes. And this is where EVs pose an existential threat. electric vehicles require about 40% less service than gas cars, which directly threatens a dealer's single most profitable part of their business. And this is exactly why Tesla argued from the very beginning that it had to sell directly to consumers. They couldn't trust a business model that was financially incentivized against their own product. And you know what? They had a point. Consumer Reports did an investigation where they sent secret shoppers to dealerships, and in 35 out of 85 visits, the salespeople actively tried to talk them out of buying an EV. So, Tesla's long fight to sell its cars directly has put this giant spotlight on these strange, century-old laws. And for the first time in a very long time, the foundation of this dealer monopoly is starting to show some serious cracks. In response to Tesla, states have passed some truly bizarre laws. In Texas, a Tesla built there has to literally be shipped out of state and then shipped back into the buyer. In Connecticut, you can lease a Tesla, but you can't legally buy one. These loopholes just show how completely absurd the system has become. What we're really seeing here is a clash between two fundamentally different worlds. You've got the old dealership model of in-person haggling and regional monopolies, and it's being challenged by a new model of online, transparent pricing and direct sales. And it's not just Tesla anymore. Legacy automakers like Ford and Volvo are exploring online sales, and Hyundai's even planning to sell cars on Amazon. So we're left with this system that was created to protect small businesses, but instead it turned them into giants. It's a model that was built for a world that simply doesn't exist anymore. And the big question now is whether the forces of the 21st century are finally powerful enough to tear it all down.